Context-sensitive help is an online help centralized towards an online application feature or web page that may need a little bit more of an explanation for its users. Rather than waiting days on end for tech support or an online agent to contact, context-sensitive help has made it easy to get immediate online assistance without any hassle. Unlike a manual or description, it's not essential to the rest of the content. It is used for additional information given to the reader at a specific point or area where the software is being used. Instead of having users leave the website out of frustration or depart from their current task, they need to use context sensitive help to navigate through the system or help with the overall customer experience and satisfaction. Now let's overview some helpful concepts or terms to understand about the context sensitive help. Let's start with UI. A user interface is simply the connection between humans and computers in which a person uses the machinery effectively and simultaneously the machine connects to the internet to provide that given service. Then we move on to a GUI widget, which is a graphical user interface and is the element of interaction between a user and the software. It provides interactions with things like a drop-down menu, a scroll bar, etc. Content-sensitive help gathers metadata to be picked up by information retrieval, which is the collection of documents and data used to find relevant and useful information for the user. The metadata is information or data gathered to help categorize the structure of different elements being used within the software. Essentially, metadata is data pertaining to other data. As for the history, the first ever GUI software system was known as the Alto and was developed by Douglas Engelbart and Dustin Lindberg. It gave Steve Jobs the foundation to create the Macintosh project and eventually build Apple. He built the first GUI computer sold commercially in 1983. During the 1990s, there was a surge in the use of desktops, and with it came small adjustments and augmentations to the software. It has since only made more progression, such as involvement of third-party software, protected memory, and, of course, context-sensitive help. Let's talk about how the tech works in 3 steps. Step 1 is the content analysis of the metadata. Once the user selects the icon button relating to the particular content on the web page, the information is redirected to be analyzed for its particular context. The context-sensitive help system uses that data to further analyze the user's content and how it relates to the software application. This is based on factors like where the user is, what language they speak, what actions they are performing, and any necessary data to provide them with context-sensitive help. Step 2 is within the database of the software. There is an information retrieval. The system uses the metadata and information provided by the user's interactions to then retrieve the necessary information on the user's question or command for them. The step involves software sifting through various documents and articles to hopefully meet the user's needs. Step 3 involves presentation and feedback. After the information has been processed, it will be presented to the user. This will typically involve a display placed above the intended button, drop-down menu, etc. Depending on the web page, feedback may also be used by holding the information presented to the user and finding out how effective exactly they found it to be. Now let's go over some examples. The first one is tooltips. Tooltips is also known as a hint. It appears as the most common GUI element. A tooltip will appear when hovering over a screen, icon, or element of the web page. Typically, a text box will be displayed near the initial text and will be a description of the icon or element's features, what the abbreviation stands for, or possibly the relevance to the subject at hand. The next example is Balloon Help, which Apple introduced as a help system with the release of its 7th version of its software. The name refers to the speech balloons that you typically see in comic books, and the name has since been used to refer to any help icon presented on an Apple web page. Lastly, we have AnswerDash. AnswerDash is a B2B or a business-to-business software company that is used to provide customer service and assistance within e-commerce. AnswerDash studies algorithms within the software to create a database of content-sensitive help answers. The AnswerDash software is for mobile applicants, end users, and all web pages in need of contextual answer technology. The overall real-world problem that context-sensitive help resolves is the facilitating of accessible assistance, the collecting of data to further improve usability, and the maintenance of sufficient customer service across a web page. Context-sensitive help contributes to the development of a graphical user interface by facilitating and taking in user data interactions in the interface. Context-sensitive help identifies relevant content to present it to users instantaneously. When users need help with specific feature or function of a web page, they have easy access to the support they need to continue their task. In the future, it can be expected that software companies will further enhance these features to be even more interactive and accommodating for its users. Software companies have already managed to give their consumers access to live chats and agents for their customer support.